I'm Stephen John Drew from the official GonnaGeek.com podcast, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out other geeky podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 542. Pay no attention to the ticker on Twitch right now because I got that wrong. Of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, December 10th, 2023. I apologize. I looked to the wrong place on my screen because I've just redone all of my computer setup here, and the clock is no longer in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It's in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So I'm overcoming years of muscle memory here to be like, okay, I got to check my clock and my date time. And I went to the wrong place. I apologize. My name is Chris. I am joined, as per usual, with my typical band of misfits. We'll start first with Mr. Willie Nelson.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned the date because I started doing the thing. You know how when the new year happens, everyone's like, oh, I put it in the last year by accident. Oh, crap. I'm a genius because I started doing the year ahead of time and saying, shit, it's the next year I actually wrote in. Damn it. So, genius ideas.
Genius ideas from Willie, indeed. I shudder to think what kind of follow-up and smart ideas we'll get from Mr. Anthony Bachman.
It's Willie's writing 2024 already, and Chris has muscles. I don't know what's going on.
I have muscles. What?
You said you have muscle memory, so you must have
memory.
muscles.
Well, yeah. I was like, I don't know, man. I go to the gym, but I don't think I got muscles.
I got muscles. It's just underneath the layers of fat.
That's true. I need to protect my muscles.
Remember, abs are not made in the gym. They're made in the kitchen.
It's true.
That's true.
I mean, mental abs.
What is a mental ab?
I don't know. You have mental memory muscles.
Mental muscle memory muscles?
Yeah. So what are you talking about, man? You started us down this thing. Why are you asking me about what
muscle memory is mental abs?
You stick to your path, I'll stick to mine.
I mean, that's fair. We can do that. I apologize. I don't know what I was thinking, Willie. I should not have asked you questions.
You see, people get a little weird when you flex your mental abs. They don't know how to take it. And this is just what happens, man.
I'm sure it is. That was Willie flexing his abs, not pooping, I promise.
I hate you.
Are we sure?
Hey, you're the one that set it up with uncomfortableness. Let's just put it that way.
Hey, I only took a mental shit.
And away we go.
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry.
Hey, I bounced off you, man. Don't and you. So don't act like this, like you're innocent in this.
No, I'm innocent. I'm the most innocent. I think I can't tell what emoji that is. It's mostly why I shared it that V put on screen to us. Is it? I don't know. I can't tell things.
If it's a little kaiju.
This is more appropriate, though. I'm just going to leave this up for the whole time for Willie because it's his favorite emoji. For those on audio, it's the chocolate ice cream emoji.
Oh yeah, from that video, 2 Girls, 1 Cup, where they're just sharing a cup of chocolate ice cream. Yeah, you brought down the thunder, but now you got it.
I'm sorry. I don't know a good way to make it up to the audience. How do I make up that I let Willie do this? How?
I mean, let me do it some more. That's usually what works, right?
I don't want to.
Okay, fine. I'll just
I don't want
I'll
to.
just wait on bated breath and just keep calm and cool because hey, just like the thing says down there, I'm some dude.
He is some dude, just like the rest of us are. And I have no idea how to transition out of the awkwardness. So hey, I just do the traditional thing, which is hit the damn button.
Live from the ATGN studios on the it's the news of the week.
That's right. It's the news of the week. It is that part of the show where we run down what's in our minds. It's the most interesting geeky and or nerdy news that's popped up here in the past week or so. Share it with you guys who are watching live, listening at a later date. I'm sure you can probably guess what some of it is. If you tuned into our stream we did on Thursday night, you might have noticed that Wilie and I spent, 3 hours talking about a few game awards in between commercials?
I mean, I enjoyed the commercials.
It was okay. I'm glad that you wanted to do it, and I had fun doing it with you. Had you not wanted to do it, I probably would not have watched most of the Game Awards, to be frank. It's fun doing the back and forth with someone, but man, it's just a lot of fluff. It's just a lot of fluff.
I'm not gonna lie. A lot of those jokes were they felt scripted. But do you remember the one standout joke?
No, I'll be honest. It was a 3.5 hour stream we did, and it's all kind of a blur to me.
So let's just say it was one of the first jokes we got of the show.
Then I'm less likely to remember.
Christopher Judge said it.
Oh,
Kratos himself. This time I'll make sure my speech is shorter than the Call of Duty campaign. Woo! And then, of course, the camera just goes right to the developers of Call of Duty. Oh my god! Apparently, they did not like that joke. They so they since went on and they responded to it saying, coming from Kratos, let's just look at our metrics. And I'm thinking, oh my god, what are these people thinking? How are you shooting yourself in the foot this much? How much do people complain every year about Call of Duty? How much?
A lot.
And let's see,
their patches.
How many complaints did God of War get?
Not many.
Exactly. I mean,
I'm sure there's some people that did.
Yeah, there's some complaints.
Yeah.
I mean, but majority, like, come on, Call of Duty, your metrics. If that's what you got to go on, get out of here.
That's fair. No, that was a good shot. And then the internet, of course, took it and ran with it and turned it in like controversy when it was more of a wink and a nod to, hey, we all know you bitch about how short, especially the last Call of Duty campaign was because it was so rushed. Whatever. If you're going to put out stuff that's going to make you a target, you can't get mad when people make the joke.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I guess they made the joke at what is arguably one of the biggest events for video games, aside from like E3, I guess, where things are awarded. But let's be honest, was Call of Duty going to win or be even nominated for any awards?
Yeah. So he made a joke in the place where the joke would hit. Yeah.
Well, it was definitely written for him.
I'm saying you don't do local New York humor when you're doing stand up in LA. You do a video game joke at the Video Game Awards.
I was just waiting for the Activision dev to walk up to the stage and say, keep my game's mouth or name out of your mouth and slap him.
Now that would have been funny.
What was his name?
That would have gone viral.
Teal'c or something?
Yeah, his name was Teal'c on Stargate.
Oh, you gonna slap Teal'c? Oh, you gonna slap Teal'c?
Get called a boy.
Man, I swear to God, Christopher Judge just gets more and more jacked every time I see him. Like, even in early seasons of Stargate, he was a big dude. But, like, look at him now. I'm like, holy shit, dude. How much do you work out? Must be a lot.
I'm not going to lie. He's starting to look more and more like the Predator with his hairstyle.
I think he's just enjoying the fact that he can grow his hair. Because for, like, 8 years of Stargate, he had to shave his head on, like, a daily basis because his character was bald.
What's so wrong with that?
Nothing, but he didn't want to necessarily live his life like that. We heard Michael Rosenbaum talk about that. Was one of the things that just wore on him when he was doing Smallville. Was he got really tired of having to constantly shave his head, sometimes multiple times a day, because the cameras, especially HD cameras, would start to pick up the stubble at a certain point.
They did not shoot that show in HD.
Yes, they did.
They did.
Watch later seasons of the show.
Yeah, the later seasons.
Remember, they also shot it, but it wasn't originally aired in HD because if you go back and watch the DVDs or the Blu-rays, rather, they're all in widescreen 1080p.
Yeah, I think seasons 5, 6, and 7, the last 3 that he was on, were in HD. Yeah, I think it was more than that. It's funny because he complains about the fact, like he never got free suits. He wore suits, all the time on set. He never got a car. He had him drive all those crazy ass cars, but he also never got any free razors. He's like, I just shave my head all the time all the time. I never even got a free set of razors from Gillette. Nothing.
Yeah, it's a CW show.
I will say it was so weird and jarring seeing him in the next thing I saw him in, which was Sorority Boys with Harlan Williams and.
Well, I mean, if the next thing you saw was Sorority Boys, yeah, that's going to be a bit jarring.
Well, with him in it, and he had hair.
Yeah.
He had normal ass hair. I was like, oh, okay.
So we opened the show kind of teasing that Game Awards stream. I know Willie has a topic he specifically wants to talk about out of the Game Awards. I had news from that, and then we were kind of do some high-level recaps of it before we get to some of Bachman stuff. So let's go Game Awards heavy to start things. And Willie, do you want to kick us off with your editorial on a certain award?
I mean, sure, I can start. It was a little weird when we were going through it, and then the category for best ongoing game came up, and the things were there that you expected: Apex, Fortnite. I forget what else was that. I think Minecraft was on there probably, but then Cyberpunk 2077 was on there. I'm like, best ongoing. I was a little confused. Chris, I'm pretty sure you were a little confused because we don't really see that as an ongoing game. When I think ongoing game, I think game as a service, something that's continually updated. Now, Cyberpunk has been continually updated, but it does have an endpoint. That's where the disconnect is, because Fortnite, that doesn't have an endpoint.
Right.
Apex Legend, no endpoint in sight.
Yeah, if you compare it to something like Fortnite, Apex, Dead by Daylight, things like that, those are games that are pretty much designed for you to go on, play as a group, and the game continually keeps evolving. Whereas Cyberpunk is a very much single player experience that they've continued to patch, refine, and put out a DLC for. But I think the 2.1 patch is technically their last patch, unless there's like any major
there's gonna be a 2.1
broken issues.
Or did you say
2.1? Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said 2.0. My brain.
Yeah. So in other words, those other games are ongoing and Cyberpunk is not.
Not anymore.
I wouldn't describe it as ongoing myself personally, but I can see how someone would say it is, because
this is that bullshit of the Martian
getting
being
updates.
This is that bullshit of the Martian being a comedy.
So this also gets us into like that mushy middle ground where No Man's Sky, for instance. That's considered an ongoing game, and it had a similar story to Cyberpunk in the fact that it came out and people crapped on it because it wasn't what they expected, and it wasn't necessarily how it was portrayed in trailers and things like that. And then it developed, they put more patches out, they updated things and turned it into something much bigger than what it was. And it's arguably one of the more popular games out there you hear people playing, especially as the scope has increased in scale. So I think in part, maybe that's the kind of logic they applied, as the No Man's Sky logic to apply it to Cyberpunk. But maybe I'm stepping on Willie's toes here, because
No Man's Sky also has no endpoint inside either.
Yeah,
so
true.
Well, it has no endpoint, and also No Man's Sky has had like 30 major DLC updates that are like named like updates where it's massive changes in how the game is played and the entire universe alters, where Cyberpunk's had, what'd you say, 2 updates?
Well, they did the 1.5 and then
hold on.
That's not comparable.
But when it did win the best ongoing game, spoiler, it did bring something up in my mind. Like where like the journey of Cyberpunk and how it got to be. Everyone knew The Witcher was built with love and great attention. Then the first trailer for Cyberpunk came out, and if you remember, the woman with the mantis, is it the mantis blades?
It's mantis blades.
Mantis blades. Yeah, it was like, ooh, that's gonna be cool, and everyone was expecting greatness from it too. Kiana told us we were beautiful, but we know what really happened. Released with bugs and needing instant patches, especially how it came out on the then current generation. The frame rate, the AI, the sheer amount of graphical bugs, issues. Xbox even put a warning on it. PlayStation pulled it from the store outright. But just like No Man's Sky, there was a journey that took time. It took time before the patches really started the fixing process. It took a console generation to release and some beefed up hardware, and even an animated adaptation and edge runners. But it got to a place where people are now praising it. A revamp of the entire RPG system in the game later. It feels good. all the way up to even winning the best ongoing game at the Video Game Awards of 2023. This isn't unheard of, but it always feels like a plot of a movie when it does happen. Like mentioned before, look at No Man's Sky for an almost similar journey. And let's not forget the times when the issues don't get fixed. Look at you, Warcraft remake, which even ruins your old game, which is even sad. CD Projekt Red even released DLC that has been praised since, and more updates even coming up. But even after all this, I'm still kind of wondering and curious, how is it running on the last generation currently, like the PS4 and the Xbox One?
So funny you mentioned that. The DLC does not play on the previous generation consoles.
Oh,
it is only available on what is now our current gen consoles. Now, how this gets interesting is, remember, there was a Cyberpunk edition of the Xbox One X that was sold that came bundled with the game and the season pass to get the DLC. So they had to refund some people who had purchased that Xbox with the intention of getting the DLC with the digital game because they couldn't play it on their console that it came out with.
So there's a Cyberpunk Xbox that you can't play the Cyberpunk DLC on.
Well, that is correct.
That's some dumb shit.
Well, I think it's more how things changed over time. Now, if we step back a sec, V had asked in the chat who had won. It's Cyberpunk, but the other nominees were Apex Legends, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. Now, we didn't look at the descriptors for these categories, and they didn't give us those descriptors really in the show. How would they describe, at least on IGN's site, which I think came from the Game Awards site, the best ongoing game is awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. I mean, with that description, you can sort of twist it into a single player game like that, where they kept putting patches and DLC out before they finally closed it to call it ongoing. It just at face value doesn't really feel like ongoing because we're comparing it to these other games as a service, ongoing games that never really end, that don't have a single player story that you can wrap up.
I guess that's the reason why it's not called the best game as a service category,
right?
Yeah, that's some vague bullshit categorizing.
It's semantics with the wordings.
With that, any game that's received a DLC patch could be considered ongoing.
In theory.
Yeah, so why is it a separate category if any game can fit in that category?
So we also assume, for instance, that we're going to get some kind of DLC for Spider-Man 2. It's not been confirmed. I said we all assume that there'll be something.
You assume it.
There's plenty of other people that do too, because we didn't know about the DLC for Spider-Man 1 and then they announced it. In addition to the fact that we know there's a new game plus and another patch coming out that's supposed to continue evolving it. So in theory, let's say they do their new game plus patch and they get like the first part of their DLC out between now and the next Game Awards. Based off that definition, you could consider Spider-Man 2, if this happened, in the best ongoing game category.
It'd be the best ongoing game of 2024.
And it might actually win a category that year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a fair criticism of Spider-Man. It got 7 nominations, won nothing. But look at the competition in all of the categories it was nominated in, and it lost to clearly better games. And that's not me ripping on Spider-Man 2. I love the game, but the competition was stiff. There's nothing to be upset about that you lost to, say, the Game of the Year winner that we'll touch on later in the show, because there's a reason it was Game of the Year.
How about this? Spider-Man 2 is a great game. Baldur's Gate 3 is a memorable game.
Spoiler alert. Jeez, Willie. I was trying to save that for later.
And the only thing I've heard about that one is that you could make nude players in the character creator. Like
my wife
started, you can fuck a bear.
It's the only thing I've heard about that game.
My wife started playing it yesterday because they stealth dropped it for Xbox during the Game Awards. Like, hey, out on Xbox now, because it hadn't been on Xbox yet. And I was asking her how she enjoyed it when I brought her dinner last night because she wasn't feeling well. And she's like, I'm still in the character creator. And I said, yeah, I've heard people talk about the fact that in character creator, it can take like an hour or two to get things how you want it because there's so many options. She goes, yeah, I was really surprised there's 4 different penis options.
Well, speaking of Cyberpunk 2077, same thing.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Cut, uncut, shower, grower. 4 different options. Yeah, that makes sense.
Figure out which one I fit in.
No.
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 No, thank you. No, thank you.
The answer might surprise you.
Nobody here wants that answer.
They really don't.
I'm all right with that.
So we're talking about Game Awards stuff here. Willie thought it was a bit controversial, the Cyberpunk win. I tend to agree with that. Let's go through.
It just made me think about it.
Yeah, let's go through real quick and let's talk about what some of the big winners were. We're not going to touch on all the categories, but we'll scroll through it. I've got an article up on IGN. I'll screen share it so that we can all see what's going on. So for people on Twitch, you may want to go full screen if it doesn't show up very well. And for those of us on screen, you may also want to do that. Again, IGN.com is where we're going for our recap. I probably could have pulled it off the Game Awards website, but their blue background worked better with our blue background to make it less jarring. So Game of the Year. This is, in their words, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Nominees were Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Super Mario Wonder, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Like Willie mentioned, the winner was Baldur's Gate, and I don't think you can really argue that it shouldn't be based off of what a success it's been and how good it's been based on all accounts. I have not played it yet because my backlog is just too large. Honestly, eventually I'll get to it. That's my hope, because these are the kind of games I like.
I haven't played any of those.
I'm just happy Zelda didn't win.
Yeah, I am too. But
I've never even heard of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. What's that one?
Oh, it just came out.
It just came out like a month ago, month or two maybe.
So I'm not that out of it. I'm like, there's a Mario I haven't even heard of. What the hell?
It's people are considering
the
swan song for the Switch. Basically, most people think it's probably the final major Nintendo release on Switch as it is now. We're getting some kind of next gen Switch at some point, is the guess.
So you're holding out hope for Metroid 4 on the Switch?
I've had that pre-ordered forever because everyone who's on this show has heard me bitch about this before. Amazon Prime subscribers used to get discounts on games, on game pre-orders. I've had this subscribed since when that pre-order was in effect, so I could get like 20% off of game by pre-ordering it on Amazon. That's still in my account. It is the longest active purchase I've had on Amazon because there's never a release date for it. They'll put one, then it just gets thrown back like 2 years, and then they take the release date off. But someday we'll get it.
That at that point, that doesn't sound like an Amazon pre-order. That's starting to sound like a Kickstarter.
No, this is starting to sound like Duke Nukem Forever.
But here's the trade-off, though. Amazon doesn't take the cash until it ships, so there's nothing allocated to it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
The
number
Game
of
of the Year
Kickstarters that I've paid for and haven't received is still a lot.
I imagine.
I think we're going to get Half-Life 3 before Metroid Prime 4.
Oh, God. That would be interesting. Oh, I don't like this alternative layout at all. Sorry, guys. I was trying something different.
Did it.
Oh, no. We'll bounce back. So, Best Game Direction. This was awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Nominees were Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Sounds very familiar. Yes, see above. Winner on that, Alan Wake 2, which by all accounts makes sense. They've developed a pretty interesting, twisted, weird world that a lot of people enjoyed. I haven't played it. My wife played it and loved it, but she's also a huge fan of Alan Wake and Control. And what's their other one that they did that was an Xbox exclusive originally that had Iceman in it. I'm forgetting the name of it.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of that either. It had like it mixed live action
and Littlefinger. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of that game. I remember it was kind of received, it was like, it was a cool idea.
Because I got Alan Wake on the PlayStation, but I haven't played it yet. But Alan Wake 2 and all the ads, it looks like is the main character Milo Ventimiglia.
It looks a lot like him, but it is not him.
Rocky's son?
Yeah, it looks like Rocky Jr. with a beard.
Yeah, it's not actually him, but it looks similar to him.
You mean Peter?
Peter Petrelli.
Peter Petrelli.
Yeah,
he saved the cheerleader. He saved the cheerleader. He saved us all.
He saved the world. Well, technically, I would say Hero's the more important, but I mean that's just me.
So we'll speed through a little bit here. Best art direction went to Alan Wake 2. No issue with that. Best score in music went to Final Fantasy 16. Best audio design, Hi-Fi Rush, which is a game that sounds like it's designed for.
It sounds like it's a Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. Best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and/or performance capture. I thought this is the one that had a shot for Spider-Man 2 or Cameron Monaghan for Jedi Survivor, but it went to Neil Newman for Baldur's Gate 3.
I think the character is Astoria, the white-haired vampire dude.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure that's it. I haven't played it. I think he was even playing Baldur's. He was streaming it on his Twitch, and he got himself killed by accident on his playthrough.
Oh no!
Nice.
He was super excited. It was fun to see him up there. Best ongoing game we talked about. I'm not going through all of these. I apologize. Best indie game we're not going to care as much about here.
Fuck you, indie games.
Mobile game. Well, I don't mean fuck you.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I know.
For our purposes and our time purposes, I don't think we need to touch on all those.
I'm just making a joke. I love indie games. Don't get me wrong.
I do too. Best action game went to Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon. Best action adventure game went to The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I think that might have been its only win. Was best action adventure.
When we end that, I do want to talk about that.
We can talk about it now if you want.
All right. So Hideo Kojima came out and he brought a friend.
Oh,
Jordan Peele.
That is true. He did bring Jordan Peele out.
Jordan Peele, like why not? Like hell, we had Matthew McConaughey. We have Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet, yeah. Like why not? We have all these people. I mean, but he has a purpose. He's working with them for a game called OD, and I don't think the initials are actually said what it means yet.
Not that I have seen anywhere. It has been kept very quiet.
I think Kojima himself even said, even mentioned it as not known yet.
Let's see. So it's Jordan Peele and Kojima. So it's got to be horror. So it's got to be overly dire.
Well, probably. I mean, do you remember Kojima's last game, Bachman? Who he worked with there?
The Stranding, right?
Stranding. And who did he work with for that? Another famous director.
I just remember Norman Reedus was in it. Who was the director?
Guillermo del Toro.
That's true.
That's right. That was Guillermo.
Yeah, he's even in the game too.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the guy.
So is Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. Kojima makes amazing things, and we know that Jordan Peele is an amazing creator. But I mean, hell, who knows? Maybe Jordan Peele's busting out the comedy chops. This is a Key and Peele funny game. Who fucking knows? The guy can do comedy or weird. Horror.
Yeah. It's either way, it'll be weird.
Yeah.
It'll be weird in some way.
100%.
All right, going back to this stuff, we had Best RPG, Baldur's Gate 3. It's going to win Game of the Year. It's going to win Best RPG. That makes sense. Best Fighting Game, Street Fighter 6.
I was surprised by that one, that Mortal Kombat 1 didn't win. And I was also surprised that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 actually already came out. I didn't know it came out already.
Yeah, me neither. Best Family Game, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. That was, I think, its only win as well, but I'm not 100% sure.
Take that, Nintendo. Put out better stuff.
Best Sports Game was Forza, which tends to happen. Best Sim Game, Pikmin 4. Best Multiplayer Game, Baldur's Gate 3.
I mean, for anyone who doesn't know what Baldur's Gate 3 is, it is pretty much D&D in video game form. You can play with up to 3 other people too that can make their own characters, and you could all play through it together.
Yeah, I passed through a lot of the esports stuff because that's all Greek to me. Most anticipated game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth took the win over things like Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Tekken 8, and Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. I think that should have won. Just saying. Saying.
I think
I mean, I'm excited for Rebirth.
Star Wars Outlaws looks good,
but Like a Dragon.
Yeah, but I don't trust most Star Wars games anymore unless it's by the Respawn team right now because they're 2 for 2. Willie knows what I'm talking about. Best adaptation, Last of Us TV show, that wins.
Yeah, I was happy that won.
I was too. Also announced at that time was Twisted Metal, which will tie us to my news of the week, which I'll get to. Oh, hell, I can just do it now. It makes more sense. And then we can come back to it. Twisted Metal 2. Anthony Mackie came out to announce the categories for adaptation or whatnot and pretty much said, hey, Twisted Metal 2 is happening on Peacock. They're getting a second season, bringing everyone back. So that means Samoa Joe back as Sweet Tooth, voiced by Will Arnett. So for those of you folks that are like me that are AEW fans, that means that Samoa Joe is going to have to go away for 6 months again, probably. But good for him.
I wonder if this is going to follow the games where the second Twisted Metal was the world tour.
I don't know. I'm very excited about it. I've watched part of the first episode, and this made me go, shit, I need to go and watch all of Twisted Metal now, since there's a second season coming. Because I am legitimately excited about it from what I had seen. It's just, there's so much shit I need to watch. I forgot. I'll be honest.
All right. I haven't seen the first season yet. I want to, but God, I don't want to subscribe to Peacock. I might do it for just 1 month just to do it real fast and get it out. But I want to see in season 2 something that happened that you could do in the second Twisted Metal game all the way back at the PS1. I want to be able to I want to see them set a bomb on the Eiffel Tower and explode it and it fall over to a building and they drive over to that building across the Eiffel Tower is now knocked over. That was one of my best experiences. Twisted Metal 2 was my first PlayStation game when I got my first PlayStation.
You're going to have to wait.
I was too young.
Fast X2 for that to happen. It's only going to be in there, not in Twisted Metal.
But in Fast X2, they'll use like
that 20
the feet of
or
it
is that
to
11?
Jump into space. It's
is that
2011. It's 2011. It's Fast 2011.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think you understand what the Roman numerals were. Okay, we're just gonna move on. I was gonna crack open a cold one for the boys.
Look, they split Fast X into two. What kind of do you got there? Just standard?
Standard do, because you can't find the game fuel anywhere. I found it one time. One goddamn time. And it's in no stores ever again.
Last thing from the Game Awards is the player's voice. This was 100% voted on by fans as their favorite game of 2023. Nominees: Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Genshin Impact, Spider-Man 2, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The winner was Baldur's Gate 3.
I mean,
so, go team.
Baldur's Gate 3 kind of ran with it.
Yeah, it says it kind of swept the awards.
I mean, I've seen a lot of gameplay from my friends. I don't personally have it yet, even though I was the first of my friends to even know about it, even tell them about it, but no one jumped on it till one person took a chance on it, and then everyone jumped on it. Now they're like, why don't you have I told you guys about it, and you guys didn't.
I know how it is.
So
those were the winners, but the awards themselves took like 10 minutes out of the entire 3-hour show. And that's maybe a bit of an exaggeration, but a lot of it was, hey, we're going to talk about Kojima's next game. Hey, we're going to talk about such and such. We're going to show trailers for world premieres and exclusives because that's what pays the bills, arguably. So we would not be doing our due diligence if we didn't talk about some of the stuff that was announced as part of the Game Awards. So some of the games. So I pulled up a list. I think this one's off Kotaku. I'm not going to screen share because it's mostly just embedded YouTube videos of all the trailers, but it is in our show notes. If anyone wants it, go to bit.ly/ATGN542. That has a link to everything here, so you can go view them yourselves. The first thing that I remembered really standing out to me, this is the one McConaughey announced that he actually wasn't in that I could recall, but it was a game called Exodus. It's a sci-fi game by Archetype Entertainment. And I actually got to read a pretty cool breakdown of it, I think on Polygon, where they were talking about what the thought of it was. And here's why it looks so interesting to me. I was like, man, this looks and feels a lot like a Mass Effect style game. And I went, oh, once I read this feature on Polygon, it's a bunch of ex-BioWare folks that are over at this studio now building a new space action adventure RPG IP. And this game looks really interesting, and where it's going to get fun is they're playing around with time travel a lot or accelerating time, because and they touched on it in the preview video that we saw there. Part of the concept is you can go to light speed to go and do things, but when you're in light speed, the world keeps aging at regular time and you age at like less time, for instance, because of the nature of how their light speed travel works. So something that may seem like, say, a 3-week journey for you to come back, to go out and do and come back, in the real world could be 30 years. So you're going to have that aspect of decision making for things you're going to have to do now, where it's going to be, okay, I think there's tech that could help me. Do I travel to this distant planet? And when I do so, 30 years of time elapses or something like that because of the nature of how their light speed travel works. Or do I try and figure out a solution to save all the people I know here now? I think it's fascinating how they can play with that potentially, especially in an RPG when you get into games and having to have consequences to your actions. That's the big thing they like to harp on. There's a lot of consequences there when you're having to deal with the fact that, okay, I chose to do this and now my kids are 30 years old instead of newborns. Oh shit.
They're actually making Relativity the game.
Yes. Similar to what we saw in Interstellar.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I mean, can't be worse than Starfield.
One of the other things they touched on in the article on Polygon is they're trying to work on figuring out the space combat and stuff like that. So that Starfield, there were a lot of people like, oh, this is going to be really cool. We're going to be able to do all sorts of stuff in space and fly direct to planets. Well, you can sort of fly to planets, but you're pretty much just jumping via hyperspace to a sector. And once you're in the sector, then you can freely fly. It's not like you can be like, see that star all the way across the map? I'm going to go to 100% throttle and just point towards it and get to it.
It's no Man's Sky.
Yeah, fair.
I like how I worded that. I wanted to take the time to break it down and appreciate it. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Peace.
You're welcome. Next thing that we got that really jumped out to me is they showed a trailer for God of War Ragnarok, and everyone's scratching their head going, well, this game's been out already. Oh, no, it's just DLC they announced. And on top of that,
free DLC.
Thank you for stomping on the line for me. I was trying to set it up.
I'm glad I got my little PlayStation 5 God of War edition sitting here. I'm ready for my DLC. Let's go.
Yes, free DLC drops on December 12th. As we record this, it's the 10th, so we're 2 days away from it. I may have just bought God of War Ragnarok because it was the Best Buy deal of the day. So $30 for God of War Ragnarok for PS5. I was like, buy.
Nice.
I mean, it's a great
on
game.
disc?
Yes, disc.
Great game.
It was not on sale digitally. If it was for $30 digitally, I would have bought it digitally.
Which
could blame me.
Yeah, digital never goes on sale, which is
never as much of a sale. It seems it will go on sale, but never as cheap as what you can find physical copies for.
That's fair. I mean, that's like through some weird secondhand people like, I'll sell it to you 3 of these for $5. I don't know. It's a yard sale.
Yeah,
my kid left them. I don't know what to do with them.
I think the cheapest version of No Man's Sky I've ever seen digitally is still $40, and I got it for $10 at GameStop when I bought a physical copy. But now I need a PS5 with a disc drive if I want to play No Man's Sky on the PS5. Damn it!
That's what I got.
Well, the new one has a detachable disc drive that phones home every time you plug the disc drive in. So there's DRM on connecting your disc drive to your discless PlayStation.
I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I think I did, but a friend of mine wanted to play Titanfall 2, and I was like, sure, I got the disc over my shelf.
Great game.
I just went and grabbed it, put it in. Apparently the latest update was already on my external hard drive because I just put in the disc, and it just booted up. It's like, no updates? Okay.
I love it when that happens.
Okay, it's like I'm back on the PS2, I guess. It just goes in and it works.
Let's see some other stuff that was announced. This one I thought was interesting. The a group called House that did Untitled Goose Game. They showed off their new game, which is called Big Walk. It's a cooperative game, features a large world, puzzles, adorable looking characters, and it could be interesting. It's very much not Untitled Goose Game, but it has that same, for lack of a better term, cutesy factor that Untitled Goose Game had at times. So it could be fun.
Yeah, it looked like a walking simulator with a multiplayer storytelling base, base to it.
Persona 3 Reload got a new trailer. I'm so behind on any Persona games, but a lot of people were excited for it.
People love Atlas. I can't blame them. It looks cool. I wish I had the time to get into them, but here we are.
Yeah, they showed off a trailer for a game called Windblown that's by the creators of Dead Cells. It's a multiplayer co-op dungeon game with animated, delightfully furry characters, as they call it on Kotaku. Worrying amounts of bloody ultraviolence. It has charm and gore to spare.
Nice.
Let's see. World of Goo was the first trailer when we hopped on stream that they were showing off, and Willie was very excited about the goo. He loves the goo.
The goo. I knew it was like, wait, that's World of Goo. It's like, I remember that fucking game back on the Wii.
This is a previous game, World of Goo?
Yeah, it was released back on the Wii, probably PC too. I got it confused with the Steven Spielberg game. I think that one's called The Blob or something. I got it confused with because they had similar ideas, kind of, but not really.
Let's see. They're doing a revival of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons and a remake. So if you like that game that was from 10 years ago now, that game, they're doing a remake. There's a Hellblade 2 coming. I'm really just kind of skipping through. Some of these I don't honestly remember. The folks who made the Ori games are now making a game called No Rest for the Wicked. Got a real quick trailer. It shows a dark fantasy setting. It looks very much not like Ori. I guess they're going to show off a lot more at their streaming event in March on this game. But they do make cool looking games, and Ori's fun. So I'm cautiously optimistic. This is the one that Wilie and I saw and got really confused about at first, but Sega's new era of sequels to classics is what they debuted. There was a trailer that showed off 5 revamps of things like Golden Axe, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, and Streets of Rage, which look like either remakes or sequels to those, but with a more modern aesthetic to them. And you go through that list of games, I enjoy pretty much all of those games. I kind of want to play them.
Sega puts out good things, and you might have me with that Crazy Taxi.
I do love Crazy Taxi.
I'll get some Shinobi and some Altered Beast. That updated Altered Beast looked cool.
I never played Crazy Taxi as a kid, but you know what I did play?
Simpsons Road Rage.
Simpsons Road Rage,
which we
on the GameCube
cannot get anything to come back and do more of. Like, as popular as that game is, as popular as The Simpsons is, why aren't we getting more Simpsons Road Rage games?
No, you're not thinking of Road Rage. You're thinking of Hit and Run, which is the GTA clone.
Oh, okay.
Road Rage was the great, which was kind of low tier, but I still had fun with it. I loved it. But Hit and Run, that was the one everyone wants a fucking remake of, and they just ain't doing. Do you not like money? Companies, do you not like money? Print the money. That's all you gotta do.
Fuck your GTA 6. Give me another Simpsons GTA clone.
Yeah. Well,
you print money. Every disc is just money.
Yeah, there's not that many TV shows out there that have 30 seasons of television to back up, their IP. Like, they're few and fucking far between. The fact that The Simpsons don't have more video games is kind of ridiculous.
Well, whoa, hold the phone there, Bachman. I don't know if you remember the quality of Simpsons games that were coming out. They were shit tier. Simpsons Wrestling back on the PS1, which I rented from Blockbuster. Shit game. Simpsons Skateboarding. Shit game.
Yeah, but you just keep making more.
I loved it, but it was probably a shit game. Hit and Run is the one outlier. The Simpsons game, based on the movie, I don't remember if that was well received, and I don't think it was. I think people were hoping it was going to be another Hit and Run, but it wasn't. So
nothing tops the arcade game, though. That's still the best Simpsons game.
I don't know, man. Hit and Run, man. I had it back on the PS2. It was a lot of fun, man. They actually got things right with that. I think the story with that one even is the first little test build they actually had for Matt Groening was the Homer coming out of the house. And the first thing it told him, like, you could kick, you could punch with the square button, I think it was. First thing he did was he just went and beat Marge. Just kept kicking her because the physics were all weird. When they fall, fall like they're in like one of those orb things. So they float down like, oh, like they're slipping on their back. It's weird. But that's what he would do. Like, okay, this game's good.
Fair enough. Let's see. Going back into the list here of some other stuff that we had, there was a new Dragon Ball fighting game that's coming out. If that's your jam, that's great. I'm not into fighting games, not in Dragon Ball. So
I will say it was confusing because it is the next Budokai Tenkaichi. I think it's how you say it. But it's not named with either of that. But it still is the next one in the series. That's where I got confused with. It still is the next Budokai Tenkaichi, but it's called Shining Edge or something. Dragon Ball Z Shining Edge.
The full title is Dragon Ball Z Sparking with an exclamation point. Zero.
Sparking Zero. Okay. Yeah, my brain was on it. Yeah, but it is the next Budokai Tenkaichi. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that.
So next up, the developers of Dead by Daylight are making a new horror game called The Casting of Frank Stone. It will be out in 2024, according to this.
Sorry, Chris, I'm going to have to correct you there. It's not Dead by Daylight Behavior. It is Supermassive Games making this.
Yep.
The article on Kotaku says, quote, from the folks who made Dead by Daylight.
Well, the Kotaku needs to fix some things because that's wrong.
That's where I got it from.
Kotaku's wrong on that one. Yeah,
I'm so excited. That's my favorite, most excited game out of all the announcements. That one.
It was mostly cinematics. We didn't see much gameplay at this point in time.
The game mostly has cinematics. It's a like Telltale like game, was create your own adventure type deal. Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, though weirdly, the Frank Stone character looks a bit too much like Evan McMillan to me. It looks like they're making a trapper, but not calling him the trapper.
Hey, we did see the entity floating in the sky, though. I'm pretty sure that's what that was supposed to be. So I was like, ooh, more seeing of the entity. I like that.
It could be cool. Supermassive makes great games, so yeah, should be fun.
Supermassive, super great.
Next up, Visions of Mana. Square Enix is doing a new game in the Mana series. Comes out in 2024 as well. I don't know much else.
Yeah, I never really played those. Never played the one back on the Super Nintendo. Neither of the remakes, but they always looked fun. They're action RPGs.
Team Ninja is doing a new samurai game for PlayStation called Rise of the Ronin, expected in 2024. Narrative focused and bloody, it looks like.
Looks cool.
It looks cool.
Looks super stylized.
We got an initial look at OD, which really didn't tell us much of anything about it, but we already kind of touched on that one.
You could say it's a little bit odd.
Oh.
Sorry.
Another game that we'll be getting, if you like survival games, Jurassic Park Survival. They took basically scenes out of the original movie and then put them in the game engine for us to be able to play. It's a first-person survival game against dinosaurs on Isla Nublar. I screwed up saying that, I think. The island from the first movie.
Yeah, that one did look good because it kind of looks like Dead by Daylight in Jurassic Park. Yeah. Which, I mean, that's kind of what it looked like. It was the hide-and-seek aspect of what the Dead by Daylight game originally started as, just hiding from fucking dinosaurs. And yet the graphics on that look good. Like, it was a good trailer.
Got a trailer for
gave to me the same feeling. I was just saying it made me feel the same feeling I got from when Telltale announced their Jurassic Park game a long time ago, which was like, what happened to that Barbasol can? That's where their whole story went.
Yeah,
but it had the same feeling, like, hey, you remember the movie, the first movie? You remember that, right? We're doing that. Like, it had the same feeling that Telltale kind of did with their trailer back then.
We also got a trailer for Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. I have no idea what's going on. I want it to be good. I like Rocksteady's Batman games. I hope it's good, but every time I see more, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be good.
Well, and also
people share that same sentiment.
Yeah.
When they toss the game logo up, isn't it just Suicide Squad now?
Oh, they just changed it to that?
Well,
that's less fun.
I'm saying it didn't say Kills the Justice League. It just said Suicide Squad. I think they're shortening the name.
Oh, I hope not, because that was part of the appeal of it.
Yeah, that's, like I'm saying, another problem.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I guess could be because of the word kills, maybe.
What is it? Yep. February that's coming out now? I think it's been pushed back to. So we're getting it relatively soon. We're only like 2 months away from it coming out.
It's the whole gear system that really is like, I don't know about. That's why I'm seeing like on it, is because the gear system they've showed off, and it's like, I hope it's not like that, but we'll see.
There's a crap load of other trailers on there. We're not going to touch on all of them. I guess real quick, makers of Dishonored, Arcane, they're making a Blade game at some point in time, but they just entered development, so we're probably 3 or 4 years away from it. But where they're excited is it's going to take place in Paris. And Arcane is based out of France, so it should be cool for them to basically build a game in their own backyard.
All right, 2 things with that though. One, I'm expecting it's going to be Xbox exclusive, right? I mean, that's because Bethesda.
They didn't say, but I think it's a fair assumption since it's Arcane.
Yeah, which it's all right. And 2, it better have a blood rave. It better have a blood rave in it. I swear to God, if you don't have a blood rave, what you doing?
I hate to say this, but he's not wrong. It needs to be an underground,
I'll take it,
crazy ass French blood rave.
I mean, we need to get really deep with that Eastern European Europop too. Ooh, we need to get it. I want to hear that drop as the blood drenches.
And yeah, it's kind of needed, especially in a video game. It'd just be fucking hilarious.
There's a bunch of other stuff. I skipped through a bunch. I guess one of the other major things is we got a first look at Monster Hunter Wilds set for 2025. A lot of people are excited for that one. I am not huge into the Monster Hunter games, so it was more, I went, oh, cool, they're doing another one. But people who love the Monster Hunter games were legit excited. Like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see this. And I was like, cool.
It did look
I can't like everything, or I can't play everything. So I kind of enjoy seeing how excited some people get for stuff that I've not heard much about. And I'm like, oh, cool. Awesome.
There was one that I saw that I wanted to touch on because they did reveal the Focus Entertainment, which I got the email here because I'm signed up for it. They are pushing back Space Marine 2, which now that I'm kind of getting into the world of Warhammer, I was really excited for because I've already seen gameplay footage that just looks awesome where you have the Tyranid hordes coming in like the zombies in what was that crappy zombie movie where the zombies acted like ants? World War Z. But they basically have the Tyranids, which are the bugs in Warhammer, like coming at you in waves like that. And then you're just letting loose with a giant bolter gun and shooting into like waves of combat, which it looks really good. But unfortunately, Space Marine 2, I think, was originally supposed to be released in the fall of 2023. So like it was supposed to be roughly Christmas this year. And Focus Entertainment has now put it out that it will be released September 9th of 2024. So it's been pushed almost a year after they've done like live broadcasts of gameplay like on Twitch and stuff. So I don't know what's wrong, but hopefully with that extra year, they might get it fixed. And then ridiculously, I'm almost never one to get like the crazy collector's editions of games with like the statue and the just insane shit that's super expensive. But they've got one for this one where it's a $250 version of Space Marine 2 on whichever system you get it on. And it comes with a statue of the Space Marine character holding up a Tyranid by the neck and holding up his chainsword. And it's a big looking fucking statue. Like it looks pretty cool. I might have to save $250 up for next year just to pre-order this game.
Statue.
Just a big ass statue. I mean, I got Cole McGrath from Infamous 2. You know, one of my favorite it's the only collector's edition of a box that I own because I found the damn thing on eBay eventually for $60, where it was at the time going for like $500 on Amazon. But I mean, yeah, this might be the second game ever where I'm actually thinking about getting the collector's edition because, yeah, the Space Marine game looks gorgeous and it looks fun as hell. It's just sad they're pushing it out damn near a year.
This little guy?
There you go. That's the one.
Yeah, I got it too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an awesome statue. And then it came with his fanny pack. And then it came with DC comic too.
Messenger backpack.
Oh,
like
yeah.
A one strap messenger backpack.
Yeah, I still have all that. It's the only collector's edition of a game I've ever bought. But yeah, the Space Marine 2 looks like it might be. I might want to save up $250 to pre-order that one because it looks fucking cool. Like it just damn looks cool. And that game looks fun too. I'm very shocked they're pushing out almost an entire year. So we're not getting it now until September of next year, 2024.
My only advice to you, if you're going to pre-order it, don't do it at GameStop because they may not exist.
No. I ain't giving old 1/4 portion any of my money.
I mean, I say that mostly jokingly, but yeah. Every time I go into one, I'm like, man, there's less and less like game stuff here and more just
you guys are selling a lot of socks and Funko Pops.
Not even the Funko Pops anymore. That bubble's kind of popped.
GameStop looks more like a Hastings now than it does a game store. And Hastings diversified themselves right out of business.
I didn't have Hastings here, so
we did. They were great.
It
was the last really good rental place.
Come on, Wall Street Bets on Reddit. Can't you make GameStop survive another year?
They could try.
Who knows? Did we have anything else from the Game Awards we want to touch on? I know this is Game Awards heavy, so there's probably folks who are listening to this like, why are you guys talking so much about that? Well, because it was one of the biggest video game events of the year.
And it just happened.
I do have some, but that's more about what we're into.
Okay, then we'll save it for what I'm into. I already took my news of the week and kind of folded into that news story, so let's toss things to Bachman. He's got something for the news of the stupid, I guess is the best way of putting it.
It is the news of the stupid. Oh, this was, there's good and bad news all week. We lost, I can't, nor the guy that created like all of television through the 60s. Why can't I think of his name? He did the Jeffersons. He did All in the Family. But he just passed this week. So like, we had like a big titan of television die. And then you've got the Hollywood Reporter over here doing an article about how Yellowstone boss Taylor Sheridan sues his star Cole Hauser over coffee. This is how dumb shit's getting in Hollywood. So, as if they don't have enough trouble on the Yellowstone show where like they're possibly going to be suing Kevin Costner because he's saying he's not going to show up for season 5 because he hasn't been paid for season 5, but he's also off shooting his own movie. Taylor Sheridan's like so busy running 4 different shows for Paramount because apparently it's just the Taylor Sheridan network. Like it's nothing but shows he writes and co-creates.
They found something that works, I guess.
Yeah, and they're all awesome. Like I'm looking forward to doing my next month of Paramount Plus because I can't wait to watch the Baz Reeves show. Like the fact that we finally got a show based on the guy that the Lone Ranger's based on, like the actual Texas Ranger. Like it just looks awesome. But yeah, so what happened is you've got Cole Hauser, who plays Rip on Yellowstone, an actor who plays a cowboy. And you've got Taylor Sheridan, who is also a writer, showrunner, and on that show, an actor who plays a cowboy. They both started up their own coffee companies selling basically cowboy coffee. So Sheridan has Bosk Ranch. And then when you go to like the community, it's communitycoffee.com, now available Bosk Ranch coffee. And you've got Taylor Sheridan wearing like a Bosk Ranch shirt that looks like it came right out of the Yellowstone show, holding up a cup of coffee that has a BR branded on it. It's not quite sans serif, but it's real close. But it's, it's a B into an R. So it's, it looks like a branding logo like you'd see on most ranches. And he's, looking off wistfully in the distance and drinking his coffee. And he's trying to sell that. And then when you go to the other page, you've got Free Reign, where you've got Cole Hauser dressed up as Rip, but he's got an FR instead of a BR. And so the letters look similar, but his are technically both serif letters. They have the serifs on the F and the R. And apparently, and it's just him looking off wistfully the difference, holding up a cup that says Free Reign. And so you have 2 basically fake cowboys trying to sell cowboy coffee, and they're now suing each other over it because Taylor Sheridan is saying that the brand logos look too similar. Let me see if I can get this over here. It's so ridiculous. If I put it up here, I should be able to screen share, right?
Yeah, feel free to screen share.
It should.
You could say Sheridan can't share. Okay, fair.
I love it when we play with new toys.
I know. It's always fun. Wait, that one. There we go. Because, can you guys see that?
Yes, it is on screen for everyone right now.
So here we have the Bosk Ranch logo from Craft Coffee, and then over here we have Free Reign. So you have a B into an R and an F into an R. They're both designed to look like brands from a ranch. Neither of these ranches exist. They're made up bullshit. These are not real cowboy. Yeah, it's all fake cowboy shit, which is hilarious because they're both selling the cowboy way of life.
Cowboy shit is someone else's shtick. You can't steal that.
Correct. You're right. This is all fake cowboy brands. Neither one of these is a brand for an actual ranch that anybody's out there working a ranch and branding their cattle with. So it's just a logo somebody paid a logo designer to create. The BR for Bosk Ranch technically has 1 serif right here in the upper left. For the FR, it's all serifs. The whole thing, every edge. If you don't know, a serif is basically the little turns, the little feet on letters. And so for copyright infringement, neither one of these looks anything like the other than they both have a letter attached to an R. So no judge in their right mind is going to call this copyright infringement. When it's a BR for one company, FR for the other, they're both using the letter R. It's not the same logo. It's easily recognizable that they're different. It's very simple. If they were both BR or both FR, maybe you'd have an argument, but they're literally different letters. But it's so hilarious with all the dumb shit going on. And it goes on to talk about the different lawsuits that Paramount's facing with all the different problems that they're having. Taylor Sheridan's keeping this place afloat with all of his cowboy shows. But they're arguing over they have a lawsuit over their logo for their coffee companies. Neither one of them is a fucking cowboy. Neither one of them is getting up, drinking their cowboy coffee, and then going to work on a ranch. They're getting up and going to craft services and having whatever fucking coffee is there that was bought by the studio. And then they're going to work on a fake show.
But is the studio buying their coffee?
I'm pretty sure the studio's not buying either one of their coffees. Or I don't know. Taylor Sheridan's strong enough and powerful enough at Paramount. They may have his coffee on set, and Cole Hauser may refuse to drink it.
Man, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate boondoggle right there. If you make your own coffee when you're the showrunner and dictate it's your coffee that has to be served, so you're making a little coin off of it. I mean, I don't know if that's the case. It would just make me laugh if it was.
It's possible, but yeah,
I think they should be serving Danhausen's coffee personally.
I think they should be doing what is it, that Dead Sled coffee that they have, the Nightmare on Elm Street, Never Sleep Again coffee.
There you go.
A coffee that keeps you away from Freddy makes sense to me. And it's got Robert Englund like advertises for them, so it must be good. But yeah, I thought it was so funny that you have like basically two fake cowboys running fake coffee companies. Like neither one of them is out there making this coffee. Neither one of them is an actual person like getting up and going to work on an actual ranch. And they're suing each other over the logo. It's just so dumb. And I will sit and laugh as I sit here and drink my Hanks for the Troops Tom Hanks coffee, because the proceeds to this don't go into an actor or a showrunner's pocket. The proceeds of this coffee go to veterans.
I'm all out of coffee. I didn't have anything fancy though. I'm very sad.
Mountain Dew.
But he doesn't drink Game Fuel because he can't get the Game Fuel.
Because you can't.
If I could reach out and choke you for reminding me about it,
do it with the Force, Willie. Use the Force.
I don't have the Force. Chris, I tell you, consent is very important to me. I don't use Force.
No, I said the Force, not Force.
Oh, it's copyrighted. My bad.
Yeah. Don't get sued. Don't get sued. Disney is litigious. That's all I'm going to say. That was my news of the week. Dumb cowboy stuff. Because, yeah, can't call it cowboy shit.
Disney's also a bit vindictive, too, because after the whole go fuck yourself thing that Elon Musk did specifically towards Bob Iger, like nothing from Disney's using Twitter right now. Like go and look, and like none of the Disney accounts, none of the Marvel accounts have posted on there in weeks.
Yeah, it's also something where Disney has bad news right now because it looks like the Kang Dynasty is already over, but I didn't know if we wanted to talk about that because it's not really entertainment news. It's just kind of awful.
We can say that Jonathan Majors' court case is ongoing right now. A lot of the stuff that just came out this week makes it look very unlikely that Disney would want to continue to associate themselves with him. Regardless of what the verdict may be, the things that came out make it a PR black eye, potentially. The question is, do they want that black eye?
I got two words for you. Ezra Miller.
That was
the difference is Disney so far hasn't been willing to like say, hey, this movie is worth more than our PR.
Well, there's also
they haven't said the opposite either.
There's a trade-off though. Remember, Ezra Miller had filmed most of his stuff as all of that was going on, and they had a movie in the can they wanted to release. Disney's in a situation now where post Loki season 2, they have nothing with him on film anymore. Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains or Kang or any version of that. So they haven't done any more work with him since these allegations came out and since the court case started. Remember, innocent until proven guilty, yada, yada, yada. But some of the stuff that came up as part of his text messages, regardless of whether he's innocent or guilty, presents a PR black eye issue for them, is what I would say. Again, not lawyers here, just kind of reading into what's going on there, that if they wanted to, I don't think that Kang necessarily goes away. But remember, Marvel before has been like, we don't want to work with this actor anymore. We still want the character. And that's how we got Don Cheadle as Rhodey, for instance.
I thought you were going with Mark
Ruffalo and as the Hulk as well. There's nothing saying that if they want Kang to still be around, that they just don't recast Kang.
Yeah, well, and especially after 2 seasons of Loki and the word variant and multiverse being tossed around in the Marvel universe, you can cast anybody as anything. Like they have it set into, maybe not the entire general audience that only see the movies would understand it easily from the get-go, but they've got it set up to where they could put anybody in that role and say, no, this is the King variant we're fighting now. It's just not Jonathan Majors. I would think that he is probably done portraying any roles in the MCU, regardless of the outcome of the court case, because where the opinions are getting formed are based off of text messages that were subpoenaed and presented in court. Those aren't fake.
They're real. Both sides have acknowledged the realness of those text messages that were exchanged that paint a bad picture. And I don't think Disney wants that headache.
Yeah, those text messages make him look like an actual in-life villain. Like, they're not good.
We're not going to get into the contents of them on this show. This isn't the place for that. But there's plenty of stuff that's been covered on and online. Where we can get into things is, do we think Disney's going to continue to work with him? And I don't.
Yeah. I think the King Dynasty's been put to an end before it started. I think we're going to get within the next 6 months, Kevin Feige's going to announce the new Avengers movie that we're moving towards. And it's going to be like Young Avengers. They're going to focus it on the new characters that they're trying to bring in, like Riri Williams, Ironheart, like Miss Marvel. I think they're going to switch to that and focus more on it being the Young Avengers versus here's the main villain we want to fight. I think that we're going to get Marvel's The Avengers, Young Avengers before we get Marvel's King Dynasty.
You could say it's a real Jonathan Major issue going on right now.
But we won't.
If I had a soundboard right now, I'd play the sad trombone sound for you.
Wah,
wah. I'm all right with that.
I mean, effectively that.
I'll take it. What can I say?
Effectively that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's where we can touch. Like I said, we can touch on things from the perspective of, I don't think they're going to want to continue to work with the actor. And they'll have to figure out what they want to do from there. I did like the parallel made with Ezra Miller, but it's not quite the same parallel. But I liked it. It was a good discussion point. Because they should have cut ties with Ezra Miller also.
Oh, yeah.
We all said that on this show.
You know my feelings heavily on that already.
Yes.
I still refuse to pay even the $3 a month that I could get HBO Max for right now to see the Flash movie. I will not pay to see that movie.
I think I saw a Blu-ray of it on sale for like $5 on the markdown rack at Target because it had been opened, and I was like, nope, still not paying $5.
Nope. I will not give them I will never give them $1 for that movie. I will.
Here's how I would
show up on Netflix.
If I went to an FYE that was selling it on the used rack, because then the HBO gets no money from it.
There you go.
That's what I would consider, because FYE gets 100% of the money on that. But that would require me to go to an FYE, and I don't even remember if there's still one in town.
And sadly, we don't have FYEs out here. We had Hastings. They're gone.
There's one 5 minutes down the road at the mall from me.
Really? You live that close to the mall?
Yeah, really close to the mall.
That must be good for going to movies then. Or do you not go to the movie theater mall?
I don't go to that theater. I mean, I have in the past, but they don't have the recliner seats, man. Oh, they might now. I don't know if they ever redid it.
That's the thing. Our mall here has the recliner seats. The theater not at the mall doesn't have the recliner seats. So we have started going to the mall more often.
I will specify the theater is next to the mall, not a part of the mall.
Fair. Ours is connected from the food court. So you can go and get yourself some lunch and then just go straight on into the movies.
Oh, that was an Oak Hollow Mall in High Point. That one was connected to it.
The thing I did learn about our mall is if you go to one of the first 2 to 3 showings of the day, it's an AMC mall. Most of them are 25% off in the app. So we tend to go to one of the first few showings because it's cheaper and we can just go right after lunch. Pro tip for all you folks out there.
We doing pro tips? We doing pro tips for movies? All right. When you do it and they do have recliner seats, go to the 3rd, 4th row, maybe. You're reclining. You're already looking up at the screen like this.
Don't tell everyone.
Quit telling people where I sit in the theater so that people buy my seats, you motherfucker.
No one's going to do it.
We don't have enough reach for it to really impact you, Bachman.
That's my pro tip, though, because you're already naturally looking up like this when you recline, so why not be that close?
When we get up, whenever I buy my Jana's tickets for the Cinemark, we always get like row C in the middle, and then you just lean back and look straight up. Yeah, and I'm very, very disappointed anytime I open up that seat map and those seats are gone. I'm like, what? Who took my seats? Damn it!
You mother.
I said I'm choosing a different time. I ain't giving that up.
I have done that. I have done that.
On that note, though, we are about to start wrapping things up. But before we do that, we have one final segment for you guys, a little bit we call What I'm Into. For those that may not be aware, that's our chance to share with the listeners and the viewers the geeky and nerdy things we've been doing or getting into. Because, hey, when you hear about stuff that we've enjoyed doing, you may want to go check it out for yourselves. We keep things exciting that way. Super exciting. Willie is not excited at all by this.
Super duper. Excited.
Willie, you did tease earlier that you had something for what I'm into, so I'm going to tee you up first. Start things for us.
First? I like you teasing me. I said what I said. I chose my words very carefully. Now, let me see.
I corrected your words.
I teased earlier, and you teased me now for a little something that came up during the Game Awards, and that was Monster Hunter Now. The game made by Niantic. I'm not sure if it came out recently or not. I just know they did a commercial for it. So I was like, oh, sure, I'll download it. I played it a bit. It's Pokemon Go, but Monster Hunter, and you don't capture anything. You're just killing monsters and then collecting materials. But it is very Pokemon Go-esque. It's nothing new.
You used to play Pokemon Go a fair bit, didn't you?
I mean, when it first came out.
Yeah. Do you think this will catch on in a similar manner, or is it just because it's not Pokemon, it's going to have a tough hill to climb?
I mean, it's not going to get Pokemon numbers because Monster Hunter is popular, but it's not Pokemon popular.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like that. What is Pokemon? I don't even think Zelda is Pokemon popular.
Mario, maybe?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I think Pokemon's bigger than Mario, to be honest.
Probably. Yeah. I mean,
it's not Mickey Mouse level, but it's right underneath it.
You got to consider that Pokemon popular, especially in Japan, is like one of the most popular things. Like some of the creators I watch on YouTube do their trips to Japan once every couple of years. And the one guy was like, I'm just thrilled how much Pokemon Go was going on here while I was here. It's still super active in Japan.
Just because, there's less Monster Hunter fans, probably, I doubt it. There is a thing where you can get fight stronger monsters with hunters around you.
Okay.
I have traveled a bit, been to different places, and I have hit the button to try it, and no hunters are ever around me. So that should tell you something. Yeah. Different monsters spawn in different areas, and I think the areas move around the location. So if you're if you're at home, you're going to get multiple different biomes, like the swamp, the forest, the desert. They kind of roam, so you're not just stuck in one spot unless you travel 20 miles out or some shit like that, But I mean, it's mostly just gather material to get stronger items so far. If there's anything more, I don't know yet. But you just tap your screen, kind of like the Pokemon battles, to kill to do the things. There's some abilities that you can do. It's play it if you're interested to figure out what those are, because it's not really worth mentioning.
So is it one you think you're going to keep playing, or
not for a long time? Maybe for a while. But other stuff's going to take it over. I already know it is, but it'll last for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the beast, is figuring out how they can stick it with people, basically, to be like, oh, I want to keep playing this. Because there's a bunch of people, like the Harry Potter version of Pokemon Go that came out. Like, there was a bunch of people that played for 6 months, and they're like, yeah, I don't like this game that much anymore, and went back to Pokemon in many cases. Because I know locally, we have 2 Discord servers locally, one for Pokemon Go, and we had one for the Wizard game, and the Wizard Discord died within 6 months. There was no traffic on it, whereas the Pokemon Go one to this day is still fairly active for our local server.
I mean, I enjoy a mobile game that has 0 ads. That's always enjoyable.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go didn't have ads, did it?
No, it still doesn't.
Does it? No. Okay, I was about to say I didn't think it did. Yeah, because they could
do
live alone on their microtransactions.
Now the caveat though, they do sometimes sponsored Pokestops and things like that. Whereas at one point it was all Sprint stores were sponsored Pokestops, where when you would spin on it, it would have a Sprint logo or some kind of branding on the stop when you spun it, which I didn't have a problem with. And at the heights of the game, that was actually kind of smart of them, because it drew people to those locations. I think one of our GameStops in town is now a co-sponsored co-sponsored Pokestop. Their branding shows up when you spin it.
They do also have similar things like that, where stops are probably similar things in that game too, where you get more materials. I've seen it churches and stuff, always churches.
Okay. Anything else you may get into, Willie, that you wanted to touch on?
Like I said last week, unrelated to the Fallout trailer that came out, the TV show trailer, I did start playing New Vegas a bit. And as of last night, since Fallout 76 was given out as one of the monthly PlayStation Plus games, so I don't even know how long ago, I was like, I'll give that a try. And I told a couple of friends, and one of them was like, yeah, I'll try it with you. So we both made new characters and we started last night. And it was a little bit fun. I mean, listen, a Bethesda game. I don't know what the excuses are that you can handle with like the gunplay. Listen, like not say what you will about Call of Duty. Their gunplay is immaculate.
Yes.
Like they got that down. Like, say what you will about anything about their campaigns, about them as developers, what they do with the microtransactions, what the fuck ever. Their gameplay, the gunplay, the way the guns work, they work. They got that down. Bethesda, they did that over 15 years ago. Why can't you do it? What's the problem here? I've watched a whole 40-minute video essay on like Starfield and things like that. How Bethesda is not evolving with their physics engine or anything. It's just simple things. Todd Howard and his magical leather jacket that he always wears, things like that. I forget the guy's name that does it, the YouTuber. My apologies. I didn't think I would be talking about it. He's the guy who sits on like one of those like workout balls, the inflatable ones. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. My apologies. God, that's
you're good.
But yeah, I watched a whole week. Just put it out last night. It was fun. Other than that, I watched Sorry to Bother You again. That movie. Oh, I think I talked about that last week. That was a twist. What a twist.
What a twist.
It's twisted.
You know what? Keep it twisted. If you ever seen that Kevin James movie, God, where he's a wrestler, it's kind of based on
Here Comes the Boom.
Here Comes the Boom, yeah, with Bosch Rutten to Keep It Twisted. Fucking love it. That's all I've been getting to. I can't remember shit.
All right, I will go next then. I'm getting assaulted by a cat. My apologies.
You deserve it, probably.
The cat claws went into my leg because she wanted to come up, and then I looked at her and she walked away. She's an odd cat. But stuff I've been getting into.
Cat's always right.
There was a movie on sale that I'd wanted to see for a while. And as I was about to go buy it, I took the iPad up to my wife and I said, hey, I got a new Christmas movie for us to watch. Why don't you watch the trailer for this? It's a year old, but it is now available digitally on sale. I was going to buy Violent Night. I showed her the trailer.
Oh, hell yeah.
But why I didn't, it's on Prime Video right now. She's like, we'll just watch it on Prime. She's like, we're watching that on Christmas. So guys, book it right now. Christmas Day plan. I'm watching Violent Night.
I got Janet,
one, right?
Yeah. I got Janet to watch that with me the other night. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so much better than it should be. It's a really fun movie.
Where's my fucking cat? Amulet. Amulet.
That was some purring right there. That came across the microphone.
Right? She wanted to come up and she was standing on stuff she shouldn't, so I moved her. But evidently she wants attention. Other stuff I'm getting into. You guys might have noticed if you've been longtime fans or viewers of the show, excuse me, I'm using a different microphone. This is one of my old ones. It's my old AT2005. I was having gear issues, and I've had it multiple times. And one of the things I did this week is I completely redid my setup for podcasting up here. I've got a new computer for it. I've got a new interface for it. I'm not using the hardware mixer anymore. I've got a Focusrite Vocaster 2 I switched to, and I bought myself secondhand an older Mac or an M1, but older Mac Mini. So I'm doing all of this work on a Mac now because it's far easier for my editing. And I figured out once I replaced everything but my microphone, there was still a buzz in things. And I figured out the feedback and the buzzing issue I'd been having was my microphone. So I have temporarily retired it until I can figure out if it's something that's fixable or not. And I've shifted back to an older microphone that I've had on stream before. Not as fancy as previously been on here before, but still a really good mic. I just missed my old broadcast mic I had here because it always looked cool hanging down.
No, but I'm sorry to throw this in there, but my troubleshooting brain has to ask. You change cables and everything, right?
I redid everything. Redid all my cables. I have a new interface there. So I can conclude it wasn't the mixer that was having the issue. It wasn't the XLR cables that were having the issue because I've used 3 different XLR cables on that same microphone. V brings up a point. Sounds like I'm describing a grounding issue. So yes, I used a ground loop isolator in there and still couldn't get it to go away. So yeah, I'm going to try and redo some stuff now. And I've taken off the mixer out of things. I'm using a Vocaster 2, which literally just has a USB plug on the back that plugs into my computer, a couple different XLR inputs, and then I can connect via Bluetooth to my phone. If we wanted to say, call someone and bring them in, I could do it that way and do a connected Bluetooth call to a cell phone and tie it into this, stuff like that.
Ooh, call me.
I'm not going to do it right now, but
sorry.
It bummed me out a little bit. I'm going to go back and I'm going to fuss with it some over the holidays. I had to revert back to some older gear, but hey, some things remain the same. I still have the Spider-Man that hangs off my microphone because that's what I have to do. He's been on there since I've been doing this for ages. I'm going to redo some other stuff here. One of the things I really want to do, I'm just waiting until I can find the deal, is I've got just basically two 1080p monitors I keep on my desk right now that I've just run dual screens. So the right screen is generally where you see me look to a lot. And I'm going, oh, what's going on over here? To read show notes and things like that. I want to replace it with one of the ultra wide displays, like one of those 34 or 35 inch ultra wide displays. I want to replace that on my desk to turn that into use for my podcasting. But also, since I work from home, I could literally just plug my laptop into that ultra wide display and I would have a giant display I could put all my work virtual machines on, and then the regular screen for the laptop in front of me, just for, say, my productivity stuff and my Teams calls and my email and things like that. I'm just trying to find the right deal. I found one I sort of liked for about $250, but I didn't like it enough to be like, I can live with the sacrifice I have to make. And I can't spend a ton of money now since I just bought the new audio interface. I just bought the new computer to do things. And I'm only, I don't know, about $700 in on all the stuff I've done so far just to rework things. I will say I love the fact that with this Mac Mini, I just came down and I pushed it on and it was on. My old Windows computer was getting so old and bogged down that it would literally take 10 minutes once you started it for it to stop churning in the background to allow you to set up a call and things like that properly. I like the instant nature of just coming down and moving my mouse and everything's working. And yes, I am on the dark side of the force, as some people may put it now. I have Mac stuff. I have my Mac Mini here that started me on the Mac. MacBook Air, that I bought as my experiment with Mac OS that kind of sent me down this path. And I learned a lot there that when it came to editing our podcast and video files, this Mac Air that I have, the laptop, was far less capable in theory than what my Windows desktop should have been, had less RAM, had less horsepower, but it was all so much quicker on there because of the M1 chip in part. So I've kind of converted this into my new my new way of working things. Evidently V's excited for me, saying yes, welcome to the dark side.
Hey.
I mean, Macs are designed to do that editing stuff better than PCs.
Yeah.
Like audio, video, any type of,
that's fair.
Photoshop, like it's what they're built to do. Like that's what they do.
Right. And that's my use case for it, because I don't play my games on computers really. I play my games on my Xbox, or I guess my PlayStation, since I've got that now. So that's the path I've gone. I'm going to be learning how to do some stuff. Like, for instance, DaVinci Resolve is a free video editing software that's out there. So I've gotten that to play with, because as we migrated to the StreamYard platform, I can literally export all of our audio and video files as a DaVinci file to import into that editor where everything will already be lined up appropriately and stuff. So I'm going to learn and start to play with some stuff and have fun with it. That's the major thing I've been getting into. And
nice.
All right, V, I've also used iMovie. V had suggested just use iMovie. I've used that as well, because I've used it on the laptop when I was doing stuff in the past. I kind of want to learn how the other tool works too. So it's mostly just for my own personal shits and giggles. I'll give it a try. And we did also have a new viewer in there, Avery Roost. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Sorry, I hadn't had a chance to circle back around and say hi. They're on the YouTube side of the house. So yes, we can make YouTube comments show up. See? Nice thing with streaming across with StreamYard. I like it when things work.
Look at us grow. Look at us grow.
V's like, just let me know how that goes. I hated Resolve. Sorry, what were you saying, Willie?
No, I'm gonna let that one go. I'm not going to touch on that joke.
Did I say something?
I think I know where his brain was going.
Mm-hmm.
Give it. Go past it. Go past it.
No. We're just going to move past.
We're going to move past it. But that's what I've been getting into that I can think of off the top of my head And if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you might notice the backdrop looks slightly different behind me. I moved some things around, but sadly I didn't move it around the way I wanted to. Like you can see the Batman homage cover here, but at the same time I hid all of my Danhausen stuff behind me by accident. So
gotta love that Danhausen.
We always love that Danhausen. That's where I've got some of the comic covers that are inspired by the Batman cover I have on the wall that are signed, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
But yeah, that stuff all got rearranged. I don't know. I can't think of anything else I've been getting into that is of significance other than just regular adulting. So I'll toss things over to Bachman. What you been getting into?
See, since I've got Amazon and Shudder for the rest of the month, I've been I've never actually watched all of Lucha Underground, so I restarted that just to have as like background noise while I'm working. Just because there's so many great wrestlers in WWE and AEW and stuff now that all came from Lucha Underground. If you don't know, it ran for like 3 seasons on the El Rey Network, the Robert Rodriguez TV channel they had, and it was set up as like a mix of live wrestling and like pre-taped almost soap opera type drama. So it was more of a TV show than most live wrestling, but it was still, just professional wrestling. But it was a really cool concept, and yeah, that's where where Ricochet came from. I did not know that Kill Shot on Lucha Underground was Swerve Strickland, so like that's where Swerve came from. So yeah, Cage was on there, like all sorts of great wrestlers on that show. But yeah, I started rewatching that, and then I think roughly halfway through now on I've been watching the Hannibal show on Shudder. They put all 3 seasons of Hannibal from NBC onto the Shudder streamer. So I've been watching through that, and that show is just superb. The fact that Brian Fuller got some of those images on network television is just insane to me. Like I can't believe some of the stuff he got past the censors. But yeah, watching that show with no commercials, just straight through, is fantastic, and the acting on it is just awesome. You got Mads Mikkelsen, you got Lawrence Fishburne. Like it's a great show. It's super creepy and like terrifying serial killer stuff, but a great show. And then had the other night fired up some of the start of my holiday watching. So like I said, I got Jana to sit down with me. We watched Violent Night together. But yeah, I love how that movie's better than it deserves to be. Like it shouldn't be as good as it is. And I think most of that is David Harbour. He's fantastic as the world's most violent Santa. And then for background noise the other night during an event that I finally got to participate in, I watched Die Hard and Lethal Weapon and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, had all those on the background. Wasn't really paying attention to them because on Wednesday, my buddy Colin, who I used to do the Next Element podcast with, came over and he brought some 10 Votan figures, miniatures, and an entire map and the layout and the structures, and we played Kill Team. So I finished my 10 Chaos Space Marines, and this guy here, my I called him Bill with the rocket launcher. So this is Ballistic Bill. He had the best night out of all my figures. I got 10 Chaos Legionnaire Space Marines done. With Kill Team, you choose which characters you're going in based on like what you're going to do. So Bill was one of my 6 Chaos Space Marine Legionnaires going up against 10 of Colin's Leagues of Votan. They're referred to as squats. They're basically they're dwarfs in Warhammer 40K. They're human miners that were on like high gravity planets so long that they became short and squat and tough. They're sci-fi space dwarfs. But it was 10 of his Leagues of Votan versus 6 of my Chaos Space Marines. We played, by the time we got all the rules figured out and all the setup and got everything done, we were almost 3 hours in before like we rolled dice for initiative to see who went first. It's just insane the amount of rules. And like Kill Team is supposed to be easier because you're using less characters. But it's so much convoluted stuff. And also like when you're learning this at 45, it's not like when I learned D&D in junior high. It was a lot easier back then. My brain's a little more stubborn now. But yeah, we got everything finally going. And yeah, we started playing and like had a blast. Like the first turn, literally like ran all my Chaos Space Marines out and like all his dwarves shot him and like just miss after miss. Like my Chaos Space Marines just ran through, didn't catch any fire, just tough motherfuckers. And then round 2 started and they started dying. and his damn little dwarfs just started picking my guys off. I had my one guy with a flamer unit, ended up cooking one dude. That guy died after he jumped over a team of 3 and hit him with a grenade. And then, yeah, Colin's team, just the 10 of them just progressively lasered my Space Marines to where it ended up that the only person left standing. Oh, I dropped him. I dropped Bill.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Bombastic Bill was the last man standing, and I'd given him a bonus thing where, like, you can choose equipment. So he basically had really good armor to where as long as he didn't take damage, his saving throw was better than even normal. And so for the first 4 rounds, he never got hit. But by round 5, he was the only man alive. And he ended up taking out 3 of them damn dwarfs all by himself with his rocket launcher. He killed 3. So he's going to get, I made, on these word bearers, I made all their left arms are just solid black. The rest of their armor is painted red. And then I'm going to, there's little decals you can put on them. And so this guy has earned his word bearer. He's going to get his flaming skull on his left shoulder, which you can kind of see that it's just a flat black left shoulder plate. So he's going to get his flaming skull for the word bearers because fucking Bombastic Bill earned it. He was the last man standing. But yeah, we had a blast playing it. I can't wait to play it again. I'm actually looking now at, I think after Christmas and my birthday, once the holidays come through with my tax money, I'm going to buy the original Kill Team box set, which comes with the orcs and the naval breachers and its own like terrain and map. Because yeah, Kill Team was super fun. And like, I want to play it again. After almost a year of painting figures, I finally got to play some actual Warhammer and had a super fun time losing my first time ever playing. So if you can have fun losing a game, like you can't really beat that. So yeah, Colin kicked my ass and we had a great time and I can't wait to do it again.
Does your LCS do Warhammer? Because I know like a couple of ours here get really into Warhammer and have regular league nights and stuff like that.
My LCS doesn't. Captain, they had a couple of different figures for sale. I bought my first 2 Stormcast Vindicators, were a painting set that was at my comic shop, and there was a Dreadnought there they were selling that somebody else picked up. Since then, in the model section, they haven't added any more Warhammer. They have like Monster from the Black Lagoon, Phantom of the Opera, a couple Gundam pieces, but no, they don't really stock Warhammer by LCS. But what I do have here is we do have an actual Warhammer store in Boise.
Oh, okay.
Where I can go and they do play different types of, Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Combat Patrol, depending on the day of the week. And then we have a place here, Phoenix Fire Games in Meridian, which my nephew loves going to, who got me into all this. And then we also have ABU in Boise, which is a giant place. It's pretty much a warehouse that they put a gaming store in. And so one half of the building is a gaming store, and it's the biggest gaming store in Boise. And then the other half of the building is a giant open bay filled with tables. And like you can go there and play almost any board game. You can basically rent it from them. They have a huge shelf bigger than our public library filled with games that you can borrow and go play. And it's literally half their building. It's huge. It's a fucking giant building. It's probably like, I'd guess 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. Like it's big as hell. And half of it is just open tables for anybody to bring in Warhammer or any other game and play. So yeah, at some point once I'm ready, because yeah, I've got just the 10 Legionnaires now, so I can field a Kill Team. I don't have my full Chaos Space Marine Combat Patrol team yet. Once I have those finished, though, my nephew is like, hey, you need to bring your Combat Patrol because I want to play at Christmas. And he is apparently about this close to having finished his 2,000 point full Blood Angels army. So he's going to have a full-size, fully spec'd, fully painted 2,000 point Blood Angel army, which is like the full size of an army for Warhammer. In reference to Chaos, the Combat Patrols are usually around 500 points. So the 19 figures I'm making is around 500 points. He's going to have a full 2,000 point army ready for Christmas. I was like, okay, I might have my Combat Patrol ready for Christmas, but yeah. So I might be able to get a game of that in for Christmas. Also, I've got a niece that she's rewatching all of Friends and wants to challenge me in Friends trivia. So I'm also, while I've been working on my comic project, which you can see I got box tops stacked over here. Because you can't see my floor right now is covered in open comic book boxes. I finally started the reorganization of putting the last 3 years of brand new comics into my catalog. and then at the same time pulling out the books I'm going to keep, and then I'm building up some Christmas packs. I'm actually giving a bunch of my nieces and nephews, they're each going to get a short box filled with comics this Christmas. So
nice.
I have 9 short boxes laid out right now that I'm filling with comics as I'm moving 3 years worth of uncatalogued, unalphabetized comics into my collection, and then dividing my collection up into what I'm going to keep, like the titles I cannot be without, and then the other ones that I might possibly think about selling. So I just started that project this week now that I got my kill team painted. And yeah, this office is a mess. It's a good thing you can't see the floor because there's just books and boxes everywhere. My wife hates it. But, yeah, but it also means that eventually there will be more room in the garage. So she's happy about that. So yeah, so that's what I've been getting into, making a mess of my den. And then of course, yeah, I busted out the Christmas tree. So we are in Christmas spirit here.
Festive.
I got my little condo tree out.
So I did ask the chat room what they've been getting into. Got a few things there, so we'll share that before we shut things down. Avery Rooted said, hanging with my homies, which is you guys. So thank you for joining us on a Sunday morning. And then V had said, well, as previously recommended on this podcast, I've been getting into Blue Eye Samurai.
Oh, hell yeah. That show's so good. So good. Have either of you watched any of that yet?
No, not yet.
It's on Netflix. Just fire up the first episode. It'll hook you. It will.
Sometimes we're helpful though. We help people learn about things. Sometimes we make movies happen. We've got a variety of talents on this show. That said, we are going to start shutting things down. But before I go into my spiel, you have any final thoughts for the people, gentlemen?
Logar was right.
I would say I want to thank Bachman over here for naming his best fighter after me.
Bombastic Bill. There we go.
He's a William in my heart.
You're welcome.
Have we ever called you Bill?
Probably at some point in time. Bill Nelson here. You know how it is.
I think you made a character at one point. That
probably at some point. You probably sound something like this.
We've called him a lot of things.
I mean, it's still not his worst character, though, so we've got that going for us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's still time to make up that one.
Nope.
There sure is, but let's not do it right now. So as we shut things down, a friendly reminder, everyone who's watching us right now live, we do stream this show every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at www.gonnageek.com/live. Please do not use the geeks.live URL anymore. If you have that bookmarked, please unbookmark it and replace it with the gonnageek.com/live because geeks.live will be going away. We do co-stream this in a variety of places. We try to talk amongst the chat rooms there, but gonnageek.com/live is the best way to find us. And hey, when you're over on the Gonna Geek website, you can go check out the podcasts of all the other members of our network and drop in, tell them that we said, go check them out. There's a lot of good content on the network. I think that wraps us up, though. One last chance. Any final thoughts for the people before we shut down?
Merry Squigmas.
Indeed. Willie's in deep thought. Willie's all right. Willie's got nothing. On that note, we are going to shut down the stream. Thank you so much for everyone that did join us today, and we will see you all next week. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.